What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 25. It is May. We're here on Judith Plains once again, and we are doing our second cut of our clover, our second cut of grass. All the fields are seeded or planted. Everything's been fertilized. Everything's got herbicide on it. Everything's got lime on it. Everything is as good to go as it can get. Our PF score is making its way up. Here we've got our grass field, 100%. Here's your clover field, 95. Some of our other fields, right? But remember, we've only harvested these things once. So once we get in here the second time with our harvester, we should see much better yield. Raznak, thank you for turning a half a century of months. 50 months. 4 years and 2 months. They cannot believe that we have not only been running this channel for that long, because we've really been running that channel since 2017, that we've been having memberships for that long. And thank you for being one of the founding members. In fact, let's go ahead and give a shout out to some other members. This video is brought to you by Andre Yokoba and Jonathan. Thank you for being farm barons. A couple other interesting mods dropped today. I thought we already had solutions for the problems that they solved, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they solved the issue in an ingenious way that the other ones didn't. But those would be the place anywhere, although that's not how it's named. I'm looking it up right now. Thank you, Scooter. Thank you, Tuki, with your long memberships. Right, Tip Anywhere got updated. All decorative foliage, right? Ownership transfer, free placement. I thought we already had something that basically let us place things on land we didn't own in other areas, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this does it something a little bit different. Keep me admin for multiplayer folks. A little bit of a QO quality of life mod there. Bulk fill, decent if you really don't like hitting R constantly to refill from pallets or big bags. Right, that'll let you just do it once and refill all of your through all your pallets and big bags that are within the target zone. I haven't looked at hitch support to see what all it does, but hopefully it fixes that lifelong issue we seem to have of not having quite the right hitch on the piece of machinery or vehicle that we want to use something for. We got some orange tractors too. We got the Fiat Universal 650. You can pretend it's a Fiat. No. Can you not? The crop counter in Judith is nice. Is nice indeed. I mean, you know, a genius guy you are, you could probably figure out how to move it over. That's for sure. We were talking a little bit in the pre-show for anyone that wasn't watching during the first 10 minutes, which I do cut out at any rate after the live stream. We were talking about little mini PCs and using them to play Farm Sim or other games kind of casually as either a secondary PC or an emergency PC. If maybe yours is down or in the shop for a long time. Heck, Simpers was in the shop for what felt like 9 months. Glad he finally got that lemon put away. and has something a bit more reliable. Schultz has got problems now with his built machine, so who knows what's going on. Hopefully nothing's going around. Everyone's practicing safe computing, right? We don't need to be spreading any malware around here. But at any rate, mini PCs, farm sim, or just basically PC gaming in general. You all been following news about the new Xbox handheld? That's basically just a Windows-based handheld similar to the Ally X or the Legion Go, or, well, not so much the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck's not running Windows, but it's basically running on the next generation of the chip that the Steam Deck is powered by. So, handheld gaming, handheld PC gaming is quite a thing, but you're not going to get screaming performance. But you don't necessarily need screaming performance off of a little 6, 7, 9-inch screen, right? What you get is the ability to play lots of games at decent frame rates, including Farm Sim, on something that will give you a little bit of battery life. I wouldn't venture too far from the plug, but it's basically what I use to test maps with respect to low-end map performance, right? So new map drops out, I plug the map into a little mini PC that I have that's running AMD 780M graphics. Pretty common with 7000 and 8000 chips that have been out there from AMD for the last couple years, and is pretty much the chip that's in pretty much any Windows-based handheld other than that MSI Claw. That one's using an Intel chip. And I basically run the map and see how it runs, see how it would fare on a handheld. And pretty much any system that has a discrete graphics card is going to run better than these systems. This map runs pretty dang good for being 4X, for being as detailed as it is with respect to the things around the farms, the buildings around the farms and such. You get pretty decent frame rates at 1080p. I've got a video out there about custom medium settings, which I would suggest using. That's the settings that I use when I do test maps. Ray counting, it does not perform very good at all on lower end hardware. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I did see that the map author basically stated that it's got significantly more foliage than most maps out there with respect to foliage density, trees, shrubbery, bushes, and we know that trees have been a frame killer with respect to Farm Sim 22. There's been optimizations to trees in Farm Sim 25, but still, if you get too many, then performance will suffer a bit. SteamOS is going to be nice indeed for lower end hardware. We'll just have to wait and see what Microsoft comes up with respect to an Xbox OS. We're supposedly working to thin down Windows. Then basically this Xbox handheld and probably all Xbox hardware going forward will basically be running off the shelf PC hardware and this special Xbox OS, which maybe we'll be able to buy in a SKU sometime. Or like racing, maybe optimizations they make in this Xbox OS will filter its way down. We can only hope. Maybe we can have like an Xbox mode. Anybody remember the old home theater mode? You could put Windows systems in. A utility rig is pretty handy for sure. I mean, imagine you could use it to offload your encoding. Right, you got your gaming rig, and then you edit on the utility machine and encode while you, as a very productive content creator, can continue to create content on the other system while it's, you know, encoding and doing its fun things in the background. You lost me at productive? Are you saying you're not very productive? That's fine. That's fine. What's up? Mathis? That's what we're gonna go with. What's up, Mathis? Pro King, yes. I think the versatile tractors are very versatile, if one were to use a pun. And the 255, the 265, I think there's a 265. For the horsepower, it's a pretty good little price. For the horsepower, it's a pretty darn good little price. But, yeah, let me pull this up. Well, why is that not pulling up? Yeah, that's coming up. Alright, let's break it out in its own little window. Start over here in that window. Alright, don't mind me while I have difficulties here. We'll just turn this on. Alright, so here's the system. I picked this up, I think maybe ago. This is running a 7840HS. It's got the that 780M GPU in it. Right? Crazy performance. I mean, this is 8-core, 16-thread system, but again, it's got integrated GPUs. Plays games perfect. This is very similar to what I use to test integrated maps on. Jonathan picked up, he was just saying he just picked up something very recently that is basically similar to this. This is just an iteration on the previous. It's got some AI stuff in it, but pretty much it's the same as the 7000. I'll tell you what though, I just picked this up as a replacement for a laptop that I had that kind of bit the ghost. It's running, not this one. This one. I picked this one up. It's running the new AI Max 395 AMD chip. But what secret sauce it's got? Well, it's got a mobile GPU. It's the most powerful integrated GPU on the market right now. The 8060S. This thing will, I don't know if it'll do a 4070, but it is pretty darn good. It runs Farm Sim perfect on high settings. It runs Roadcraft perfect. It runs Baldur's Gate 3 perfect. Anything I've thrown at it, it runs pretty much on high settings. It's an amazing little box, but it's not cheap at all. I picked it up for, might have been like this. Maybe it was a little bit less when it was on special. But it's not your primary gaming rig, but it will definitely get the job done if you've got a special use case for it. It's definitely got more oomph than a console. There's no RAM expansion. So I've got it set up with 64 gigs of RAM, 48 gigs to the system, 16 gigs to the GPU. 16-core, 32-thread beast. Michelle, that's fine. I don't combine fields. It's really not a thing that I ever really think about. What's up, Sniper? How's it going? And while we're talking about PCs and things, we do need to talk a little bit about one of our sponsors, or channel partners, if you will. That is Apex Gaming Computers. We do have 3 bundles over there from Apex. We've got the Yeoman, Homesteader, and Rancher. Right now you can save an additional 5% off using the code SUMMER. I've got a link to that down in the description. So, for example, right now for the Homesteader config, we got a 7600X AMD GPU, all-in-one liquid cooler, 16 gigs of RAM, a 5070 GPU, 1 terabyte NVMe drive, 750 watt power supply. If you go up to the Rancher, 9600X, 16 gigs of RAM, 5080 GPU, again 1 terabyte RAM, or 1 terabyte of storage. Apex Gaming Computers, encourage you to go check that out. If those configs don't work for you, then you can always come over here to Custom Gaming Machines, find a configuration that you like, and again, use my affiliate link and go ahead and put in SUMMER to get an additional 5% off. Again, that's Apex Gaming Computers. And with that out of the way, Now we just hang out and have fun. Hope everyone's been staying cool. If you're here in the northern hemisphere, it seems like we got a heat wave pretty much everywhere. Europe, Canada, US. Like a mini machine, like an ITX case. I've built my NAS with a ITX board. I mean, you pay a little bit of a premium for a small board. Typically, those boards are a little low on the feature set too. You're gonna have to go typically with an SFX power supply, which sometimes have a bit of a price premium. Cooling is definitely something you need to kind of pay attention to because there's a lot of stuff crammed in a very little space. But they can be pretty handy. If you want desktop performance, but you don't really necessarily have the space for a traditional desktop. My current gaming setup is using a mini ITX, mini ATX motherboard. So it's smaller than a standard ATX board. And I'm using a Tower 300 case. Thermaltake Tower 300. It's kind of interesting in its orientation. It's a bit of a pain in the butt if you need to connect things to the motherboard with any frequency, because the motherboard is inverted. So the ports point up, the GPU is vertical. CPU cooler is rotated basically 90 degrees because instead of having the ports out the back, ports are out the front. You've got a top cover you take off. You've got two 140 fans on the top you lift up, and then you have access to your ports. The ports all come out of a little hole or chase around the top back. They've got a Tower 100, which is designed for ITX motherboards. And then a Tower 600, which is designed for ATX boards. But I like it. Works good. GPU's got good cooling with vents on the side. And then I've got three 120 fans on the other side, pulling cool air in. I've got a 120 on the bottom, pulling cool air in from the bottom. And then it's got those two 140s on the top, blowing hot air out. Raz, well, most phones are running an ARM-based CPU. So we really don't have too many games that are really designed for ARM other than tablet-based games. But there are things that you can use to stream your PC to, let's say, a docked phone or a tablet. You can definitely use your Samsung phone as a kind of a light desktop because there is a desktop mode if it is docked. Yeah, I mean, if you built it for flight sim, it should definitely be working good for farm sim. think where people run into the most problems with Farm Sim and performance is cranking the settings and cranking the view distance a bit further than they should for the card they have. For example, 60 series cards and 4K. They're not 4K cards. They'll do 4K, but they won't do it well. I feel like there was a mod that dropped recently that would allow me to hire a helper on Clover. I'm just now thinking about that. See her swather off in the distance. Roy, what's up? It's hot everywhere. I think the whole east is blanketed, or the whole country's blanketed with heat. It's 87 right now at 8:30 in the evening. Real feel 90. It's going to get down. Let's see here. At 6 a.m. it's going to be a whole 74 degrees tomorrow. High 96 tomorrow with who knows what the real feel is going to be. It's definitely going to be 100 plus. Whatever works for you, right? Whatever works for you with respect to stylage. I think technically you'll get more over the course of a year if you do grass as opposed to corn. You get a lot of chaff with corn, for sure. But if you can get up to 4 cuts of grass for that same time period, I think grass is king, but of course it's 4 times through the field. North Dakota sounds great right about now. I don't think it sounds great though in, let's say, January. I think we're going to get great yield out of this. Let's see what this is saying yield-wise. What the heck is this? %90 yield? Is that what that is? It's because of the soil, isn't it? Yeah, it's because of the soil. What do y'all think of Ray County's soil map really being a yield zone type map? Where the perimeter of the fields is a different soil type to simulate just lower yield on the perimeter of the fields. Slopes are a different soil type, again, to kind of simulate lower performance on a slope as opposed to nice flat, or maybe a bottom. Feel a nice bottom in it. You're actually playing all the farms on this map? Dang. I mean, that's an achievement. That's an achievement, quite an achievement. Yeah, no creep. That's just kind of his MO with soil maps. Is yield zoning. I just wish we could drop in soil maps easy enough. Do you play? How many months do you play? Or do you typically just shut the clock down to 1x? Yeah, I agree. It would be nice if you could sell the barns. DJ said that for whatever reason he couldn't get that to work. So, I don't know. He's a smart guy. Don't know what was causing the coding to not function the way it should. So the soil map is a soil map, right? You can't change the soil. You're not going to bring in a bunch of new soil and swap out your field, right? So you don't really pay too much attention to it. Although I do think I know some folks that would specifically only buy fields that had optimal soil associated to them. I think we all kind of know folks that are like that. "13 hours each day. More power to you, that's for sure." I feel like I spend 13 hours a day at work each day. Not really, but you know how the day goes. Alright, so we got clover hay here. I think last time I collected clover and I put it in the fermenter. And we made hay bales, I think. So I guess this time around we'll make grass into silage. Oh, well, happy retirement. One day, right? We'll get there. Raz, did you put in for cultivator? I had my cultivator interview last week. The fermentation factory. Is that an add-on mod? I don't think there's a fermenter production on the map. Well, I mean, supposedly Raid County's got realistic pricing on crops and things on hard mode. I think that would probably make your nightmare pricing. You'd be like, dude, I can't afford to continue to plant this crop because it doesn't even pay for my fuel. Rabbit Rob with the gaming, Rob. What's up, sir? 4 years indeed. You know what? You should quit being such a stranger. Come join us on the Sunday nights. That's what I'm saying. Oh crap, I ran into something. We're gonna put slurry on our grass next time around. Let's start it over here. Actually, let's go down and start it where we started. Mowing. That way we'll have a good opportunity to stay ahead. And go to it. Wait. Before you go to it, do one. Why are you a pain in the butt? Start on the up and downs then. Where are you going? Did I not say? Did I not tell you how to work? Up and down? Do up and down, not around. Work the headlands on, yeah. Let's start here. Jeez. Do what you're told, not what you want. Alright, seriously, you annoy me. If you're gonna act like that, then I'm just gonna send you over here. What's up, Delilah? I really don't get too hung up on it. I think this guy's got enough oomph to run the merger. Looks like it. All right, let's take some milk up to the dairy while that's running. We won't have a full load, but we'll have some. So Iowa will be coming to American Truck Sim soon. I know there's lots of us are excited for that. Always get excited for a new map. Means we're one step closer to making our way over here to the East Coast. You want to check out that West Virginia map? I haven't downloaded it yet. That was like 80 years ago. You get a feed on itch? What do you like? Subscribe to like tags or something? Like, let me know anything that corresponds with Farm Sim 25 tags or something. Always complained I didn't think itch had good enough discoverability. Maybe I just don't know how to use it. It's too fancy with tags and whatever. Oh, so you have to already have known about them and follow them, and then so it still has a discoverability problem. Brian, it's in the Discord. Let me look it up real quick since we're on a straight stretch. Doody-doo, doody-doo. Father Farmer. This is completely unverified, unvalidated, untested. Mason County, West Virginia. So if all goes well, I'll be looking at it tomorrow for a possible map video tomorrow night. But again, I'll have to check it out and just make sure it's good. It's not loaded with errors in the log. Things look like they are functional. That it's like actually released, and it's not like one of those dev releases like here's a playable version, but I got lots of updates still to do to it. Those are the kinds of things that would prevent me from doing a video on it yet. I've been passed by an ice cream truck. Well, there is a real GPS mod, so we can see that here on this display. It doesn't reflect what we're actually doing, but at least it does reflect the actual PDA and where we are. It would be nice if we were doing field work, if it would zoom into the field we were on. Oh, we got milk over here. Come up here and sell some of our milk. Andrew, thank you for the sub. Anybody that's into, I mean, if you're into farm sim, you're probably into kind of simulation games in general. If you are, then I'm going to be at the Sim Gaming Expo first weekend in September in Chicago. Love to hook up with anybody that's also going to be in the Chicago area that can maybe make it up to the Sim Gaming Expo. It's going to be a great time for all. Going to be focusing on simulation games, so games that you drive, fly, or operate a train, probably operate a boat if there are boating games out there. Anything that's sim-based, career-based, construction sim, things like that. Lots of racing sim focus there as well. Definitely worth checking out at simgamingexpo.com. No, I don't really like super thin tires. I think they look awful. I like my narrows to be like no narrower than this. Super skinnies are not good. And don't forget, folks, FarmCon is the end of next week. Of course, we have 4th of July here in the States, and FarmCon kicks off like the very next day in Austria. Think Linear Factory. Sadly, they're not going to be streaming content like they did over COVID. I think that really spoiled us. For those of us that can't make an international trip halfway across the globe. But I will be trying to bring as much news about FarmCon as soon as possible in the channel, be that through posts or video updates. Brian P, that's fine. Well, at least you know about the map. You can take a look at the screenshots and everything. Like I said, I'll be taking a look at it tomorrow night after work. And then do an evaluation. So look for a video to drop maybe tomorrow night. I hope that's not the same ice cream truck. Yeah, that farm we passed back there, it's just, yeah, it's too compact. I think that's the one where the silo is like right behind the house. I let the wife pick out this farm. Well, she picked out the farm. She picked out this one. And I said, okay, thanks. That's the one we're going to play on. But I think I like this one. The reason I like it is it feels realistically spread out. I added this cow pasture to some empty land. In fact, I added 4 cow pastures on top of 2 that came with the farm. But I like the idea that we've got this machine shed right next to the house. Right, so we kind of got our workshop right next to the house. We can put some of the bigger high-value cargo, high-value machinery in the shop here. Kind of a bit removed from the farmhouse, we have our silo complex. Further removed, we have our animals. Alright, we got one more grass field right here. Right across from the house. What's up, Schultz? We were just chatting about you and your woes. It is nice that we did get to have some roadcraft fun the other week, or the other night. After a few restarts. Relaxing to nature. Thank you for the sub. What's up, Gamer S? How's it going? What did you do to it yesterday? Farmer G's in the house. What's up, sir? No, wait. We were baling. Hold on. We're gonna bale the clover. This game, we're going to be doing both. On this game save, we're going to be doing slurry. And I did solid fertilizer. We definitely have bigger windrows than we had. first go around, we're gonna be getting buku bales. Oh my gosh, look at that count of bale go up. It's just shooting up there. We're gonna be able to put slurry on our grass and clover, just to kind of top up the field. Grass and clover really don't need a whole lot of fertilizer, so we'll probably put slurry on once and then come by with solid or liquid just to top it off. Pay attention, make sure we stay in our lane. Papa Ag? I don't know who that is. What's your modding tag? You know me with names, I'm horrible. I windrowed with the merger. I windrowed with this. And then he comes back and merges this into here. So Farmer G is GH66 mods. Mod author with what is this? Variable bale capacity balers and other things. Yeah, if you have the merger and you have it shoot out to the left, I guess if it shoots out to the right, it would do the same thing. Then when he comes back, he basically merges his two working widths into one. If you merged it down the middle, then it would be a more manageable windrow, but you'd have more passes down the field. I would disagree with you being a responsible person. This is where I draw the line at realistic-ish. This is realistic close enough. We better cut into here. Otherwise, we'd spew bales out where we had the windrow. We didn't reset our counter. Why are you hung up on the numbers so much? Hmm? That's an interesting predicament. Do you farm sim with a spreadsheet? There are modding guidelines. You can find out more over at the Giants Developer Network, GDN. But in general, you either use a model from the game or build out your own in something like Blender. I knew it. He's saying the farm wasn't as profitable this year. What are you guys doing, goofing around? What's up, Claire? How's it on the other side of the pond? I hear it's warm. Well, there are folks that get bit by the modding bug and find they enjoy it more than the game. Creating something, gigging in game, and then sharing it with others. Nice and mild. Farmer G was telling me it was too warm the other day to sleep. PNC. Jeez. Raz with a $10 super chat. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the tip. Well, I think it's going to be around 76 here around 2 a.m. Back when I was growing up, we didn't have AC in the house. I had one of those big box fans sitting on a chair right by the bed. Swamp cooler, is that what that is? An evaporator cooler? I saw Lowe's yesterday. Like fans that were misters. Alright, let's park this bad boy over here. I don't know if we're getting through this door. Nope. Fit. Look at that. Look at that. Fit. It would not have been good for Maryland. I would not call Maryland a dry climate. Nothing on the East Coast is a dry climate. I thought we would run into those bales. Just take them on for the ride. That's fine. That's fine. Or just dump them in the drainage ditch. You know, whatever you want to do. You know what? I need to go to the local ice cream shop right down the hill. This week it's Snickers. I'm a sucker for Snickers. It does really satisfy. Nope. No starting machinery. Well, if you pick to own the starting farm, yes. If you pick to not own the starting farm, I don't think you get any starting machinery. Other than what's at the shop. So I just put $10 million in, and I went to town. What? Object hider? Jeez, that's like a 7-foot tall windrow. Now, Easy Dev Controls does have an object delete function. That might get the job done for you. So let's go over here and just try it. On like this old grill that's just oddly in a bush. So if you have Easy Dev Controls, you come over here to delete object input on. Very dangerous. Look at what you want to delete and hit the delete key. Doesn't look like it works. I deleted a tree somewhere. Yep. Very careful. Make sure you turn that off. When you're done, I have to get some, yeah, some of the... I'm mostly concerned with if it's got, like, chunks of nougat. I'm not a big fan of frozen, chunky things. Because I really don't want to chew my ice cream. But they make an absolutely outstanding German chocolate cake ice cream. It tastes just like it. Smooth. So I'm hoping it's something like that where it tastes like a Snickers but doesn't have like the ground up Snickers in it. Yeah, just about any multiplayer challenge always ends up being who can log the most. Alright, I'll put this away. Oh, that would be a good one. That would be a good one. The Schultz says they don't put stuff away. I got a pound of signage additive around here somewhere. I think all multiplayer servers should just ban forestry. There it is. I've seen more game saves on a server break because someone cut down a magic tree. Let's see. Did we get a hundred? A hundred on our score on our other grass field. 99. What? Why you held back? Why you held back? All right, that's good. We're getting her bumped up. These should go with our second harvest. What type of jello? Like chocolate jello? Chocolate pudding? Cherry jello? Red jello is the best color, best flavor. The EV score is precision farming. They added that in 22. Do 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 do. Watermelon is the worst red of all. It should not even exist. So, precision farming is just an add-on that you get with Farm Sim. It is a project that is in partnership with John Deere and a few other European food and farming organizations. The idea is to promote efficiency in farming practices, and then obviously replicating those down here to the game. With respect to precision farming, you have soil types. There's 4 different soil types: loamy sand, sandy loam, loam, and silty clay. Depending on the map, there are 6 different soil types that a game or that a map could have from the base game or from the base precision farming mod. Also, mappers can create their own custom soil maps that reflect maybe real-to-life soil for a region. The different soils will produce different yields, and I've got a great 4-part series on the channel that will dive way further into all of this. Instead of just liming your field every couple harvests, you now have pH, and you balance your pH by your soil type. So there are optimal pH values per soil type, and you put lime on your field in order to adjust your pH of your soil. As opposed to simply dumping 2 fertilization passes on a field and calling it done, with precision farming, you have nitrogen, and you increase nitrogen through fertilizer. Different types of fertilizer will apply different amounts of nitrogen per soil type or per crop. So if you apply organic fertilizer, so slurry or manure or digestate, then you're going to apply a base amount of nitrogen per hectare per application. You wouldn't have any crop in the ground, so it's basically per soil type per application. It's a flat amount. If you have, let's say, wheat in the ground, then wheat is going to demand a certain amount of nitrogen depending on the 4 soil types, and you want to apply the right amount of fertilizer. Now, all this sounds super, super complicated, but in your sprayers and spreaders, you have an option of basically turning on auto. And auto mode will basically auto apply the right amount of fertilizer to the field based on the crop that is in the field and the soil type of soil. So in essence, in my opinion, precision farming makes it easier because one pass with fertilizer, you can be at 100%. Yield is going to vary based on several factors, based on one soil type. So different soil types will have different max yields. Also, depending if you have optimal or excessive pH or excessive nitrogen, could adversely affect yield as well. There's also a environmental score, and the environmental score is based on nitrogen, pH, weed control, soil sampling, and tillage. So in order to see what type of soil you have to take samples of your soil, or you can just purchase the soil map for that particular field to find out. And then work from there. Weed control, there is what's a function called spot spraying, where you just spray the weed as opposed to just blanket spray the whole field. So if you use a sprayer with spot spraying, then you'll get a weed bonus depending on how you work your field and how well you are with your pH, your nitrogen, and your tillage, meaning plowing, isn't so great. So it can, increase erosion and things like that. So plowing is kind of discouraged with precision farming. No-till farming or shallow tillage is encouraged. So if you plow your field, you're not going to get a 100-point score. But also, if your field needs plowing, well, you're going to lose 10% of yield off the top because it needs plowing. So sometimes you just need to plow no matter what. Or you just turn plowing off. Play your way. So if you want more info, definitely go check out the 4-part series that I have on the channel. And it will basically cover much more detail. This is part 1 of the 4-part videos, and then the rest are linked in the description off of that. It adds another layer to your gameplay. I think it makes the gameplay simpler in so many regards because you can just use the auto application. So like here we were at perfect pH 6.75, and we were at perfect nitrogen at 65 kilograms per hectare. We've mowed this, right? So now we're at 6.50 on our pH. We've dropped our pH by 0.25. Every harvest, you reduce your pH by a certain amount based on soil type. You can lose a certain amount of pH before you reduce your yield. So you don't necessarily have to come through after every harvest and dump lime on your field. I typically will do 3 to 4 harvests before I really bother with liming again. I think after 3 you start losing yield, and depending on your crop, different crops will require a different amount of nitrogen based on their soil. Some crops like soybeans don't require any nitrogen, so they're a great crop to double crop. Right, so you might plant winter wheat or winter barley. I think you can do that on this map. So we can plant We can plant winter barley September or October. We're probably going to be harvesting in June or July. Well, we can put in soybeans still in June and July. Soybeans don't require nitrogen. So we can plant barley. We can put nitrogen in the soil for our barley. We can get our optimal yield on our barley in June or July. We can turn right around and use a direct drill to put soybeans in the field that we just harvested. Soybeans don't require nitrogen. We don't have to fertilize our soybeans, and we can reap the rewards in November or December. Now, we can't put winter wheat in anymore, or winter barley, but we've been able to double crop that particular field. And since we didn't have to put nitrogen, then soybeans makes a great crop for double cropping because we can kind of skip a step. Realistically, soybeans add nitrogen, a small bit of it, but soybeans add nitrogen to the soil. That's not necessarily an aspect of precision farming. There's also a new interesting subsidies aspect that's not really profitable. But if you, let's say, plant your oilseed radish as a cover crop in winter, then the government will pay you a little bit of money in February for doing so. But I don't think it really pays for the seed it uses. Well, it's really different soil types. There's lots of different soil types naturally. Where I live, we have a lot of red clay. So clay typically holds moisture, doesn't drain the best. It's also very heavy. So certain plants don't grow the best in red clay because they have a hard time putting their roots down. Then you have sandy loam. It is more of a sandy soil. It's pretty good drainage, pretty good with respect to crop growth because it's a pretty loose soil. So you're going to have pretty good root growth. Then there's loamy sand, which is basically less sand than sandy loam, right? So it's kind of more of a how much sand percentage is there in the soil. You might see more clay down around like a river. You might find more sandy soil, more kind of a highland area. What's up, Raz? How's it going? Oh, we're gonna collect those bales later. Before we end for the night, I'm gonna go grab those pallets of bottled milk and sell those. Did Raz go and get ice cream? Oh, is it got replayability? Battletoads. Sausage gumbo is a very poor ice cream substitute. Don't know who you've been listening to that says that that would be a good substitute. I disagree. No good ice cream starts with the word sausage. So, back growing up, we had a garden, and I don't know why. One year we planted okra in the garden, but we did. And you know, when you have a garden and you just plant way too much of something, or you end up with just way too much of something, well, then suddenly you have to figure out how you're rid of it. So you end up making everything and anything with it. Needless to say, I'm not the biggest fan of okra anymore. It's fine in the random gumbo, but I wouldn't necessarily go seek it out. What if you substituted chicken for the sausage? Or you can make it like a 3-meat gumbo. Shrimp, sausage, and chicken. Maybe you just like the crunchy outside of the fried chicken. Yeah, shrimps on the edge. You have undercooked shrimp, and then you have overcooked shrimp, and there's like a half second in between. Oh, those are the greatest. Snickers ice cream bars with caramel. Oh, the crunchy outside. Growing up, we go to restaurants. All you can eat steamed shrimp. We would put a killing on it. But again, that's what happens when you grow up in Maryland, where steamed shrimp and steamed crab are kind of a staple of the summer. Crawdads aren't bad. I had them. I was down in the armpit of America. That's Mississippi, and it was awful hot. It was like August. Terrible time to go to Mississippi, by the way. But they had a fry. They had a big old family get together, crawdad fry, crawdad boil, more or less. The Mississippians don't suck the juice out of the head. They say that's for Louisianians. $50? Ah, that's awful. Now, growing up, they'd bring out like a big old bowl of steamed shrimp. That got low, they'd bring out another big old bowl. I mean, it's like a shrimp, kinda. It's a freshwater. It's a baby lobster, if you will. Like a shrimp, you gotta eat a lot of them. Why would you ever do that? That's awful. Like the stuff they call head cheese. No. No. Scrapple? No. No, it should never be consumed. I wouldn't really go for snails either. Yeah, catfish can be hit or miss. If it's miss, it tastes like dirt. I mean, growing up, we had some ponds, and they were stocked with wide-mouth bass and bluegills. So we would go down and catch those and fry them up. Biggest thing was picking all the bones out. Work will have catfish every so often, but so often it's just way too battered. It's like, am I eating the batter or am I eating catfish? All right, folks, I'm gonna get this started up here on the smaller field. Tadpoles. I don't know if I want to catch frogs. Fried, you would have fried caviar. Would you have halibut for the hell of it? That was terrible. That's why I like it. Good morning to you too. I supposedly had frog legs. Growing up, I actually thought it tasted a bit like squirrel. I have zero idea what a calf fry is. I mean, a shrimp is a cockroach of the sea. Crab is like the ocean's pig. I always drive with the foot all the way to the floor. We had a series back in FS19, I think, called Full Throttle Farming. Was it in National Lampoons? One of the many? Or was it in Caddyshack? No. Where can we take? Oh, fabulous bottled middle. Oh, it's called milk bottled, not bottled milk. Do 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 do. Dude, Dollar General. Where you be? Oh, you be on the other end of the map. That's fine. That's just back where we're going. This is the byproduct of full throttle farming. And reading chat. I thought about making a rice field, but when I started to make the rice field, it looked like the field wasn't flat, and then I stopped. Guys really should animate the transmission and the drive shaft on this. We get high quality bottles. They don't bust or anything. You're not live. How do I do that? What? Flip it back over? There's a couple different ways to flip it back over. I could have used easy dev controls. Let's flip it. Oh no, this is terrible. What am I going to do with myself? I'm upside down. So easy dev controls, we just hit F12. We go to our vehicle and we say flip vehicle. Where is it at? Right here, under general. Flip. Boom, I'm flipped over. Right, I was just turning on and off super strength. So easy dev has just a button. If you're in the vehicle, you hit flip vehicle and it flips you back over. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Yeah, one way you can do it is if you park right up to a building and then exit the building, or exit the vehicle, you'll be put in the building. Now it's a trick for some hard to get to collectibles. Alien Jim would sometimes be known. Where did my bottle go? Alien Jim would be known to put collectibles in hard to get to places, like inside a building with no doors. Or on the other side of a map collision. Sneaky guy. Hope one day he comes back to Farm Sim. Where are they at? Or did I roll it back there? There they are. Do do do. I want to load shift N, shift H for layer. All right, let's go back to work. Auto load is universal auto load. It's an add-on mod. You can get over at Loki's GitHub. I'm sure somebody will put a link in there for you. I did use EasyDev to reset the vehicle because autoload didn't want to work because the pallets were not properly unloaded. Oh, no, that's not. That is just a dev console thing. Oh, there we go. F4 puts you in wireframe. Very convenient for trying to find collectibles or stumps. F5 will toggle through seeing various things like collisions or triggers. F2 will show you your frame rate. F3 will lock it to 60 or unlock it. I've got a video. I got videos for lots of things. I got a video talking about how to enable Dev Console and then what you can use it for. But a lot of those features are basically covered with easy dev controls now. We've got a very exhaustive video on easy dev controls, running through all the various tabs. A must-have mod for PC gamers. Do. Making our way any way we know how. I've not driven off the big cliff. Green farm. Oh, I don't know where the green farm. Right, I'm Cooter. I'm the cool mechanic. I architected all this mayhem. Always thinking, Raz. Always thinking. All right, folks, that's going to do us for the night. I want to thank y'all for coming out, watching, hanging out for the last couple hours as we did some work here on Judith Plains. Keep an eye on the channel tomorrow. We're going to be maybe putting out a video about a West Virginia map that's out for PC. Of course, if Giants happens to drop a map on the Giants Mod Hub, we'll be also working on that. We'll try to be back here Wednesday night, do some more live streams. But again, that will be subject to if Giants drops a map on Wednesday as well. They are working, supposedly, to get through the backlog of mods before FarmCon. So I do expect to see hot and heavy mod releases for the next week to week and a half. Here it is. And until next time, happy farming.